The addiction. If you are an empath, you have the addiction. First of all, you need to establish, are you an empath? You may well believe that you are. Many of you, however, doubt this, and you require certainty in that regard. And that is why the empath detector was created, to enable you to obtain certainty in that respect, and also to know the school and cadre. There are two main reasons why people fail with regard to trying to get away and staying away from the narcissist, why they fail with regard to the implementation of go-so, get out, stay out. When you know that you are dealing with a narcissist, whether they are a romantic one, a familiar one, a social one, a neighbourly one, then you must obey the first golden rule of freedom, which is to get out and stay out. You apply go-so. That's what we absolutely hate. No contact weakens us. It starves us of fuel, it wounds us, and tells us that we don't matter, that we are vulnerable, that we are not important. It is the most effective thing that you can ever do towards a narcissist. Many of you, of course, complain, I can't do that because. But many of the reasons that are advanced are ones which are being corrupted and utilized and exploited by the emotional thinking which is linked to the addiction that you have. Logically, you ought to impose no contact. Admittedly, certain situations are easier to implement it than others, but unless you are chained to a radiator in the basement of the house of the narcissist, no situation is insurmountable. Even the classic situation of having children with a narcissist does not mean that you are excluded from a no-contact regime. It can be imposed. Or, where there has to be a legitimate exception, you can get to a position of almost no contact. And my assistance package, How to Co-Parent with a Narcissist, goes into more detail in that regard. What you should always be aiming for is no contact. But the two reasons why people fail at this is, first of all, they don't actually understand what no contact involves, because it's much wider than what people believe. Many people think that no contact is simply staying away from the narcissist and not answering the narcissist's telephone calls, emails, and text messages. It is not. I have people who contact me and say, HG, I'm in a no-contact situation, but the narcissist keeps emailing me or keeps texting me. How do I make it stop? I explain very simply, you are not in a no-contact situation. And that demonstrates, and these are honest held beliefs by intelligent individuals who fail to understand just how wide your no-contact regime must be, how robust it must be, and how far-reaching the principles of no contact go. And of course, consulting with me enables you to understand precisely how far your no-contact regime must go and what that involves in detailed specifics appertaining to the 5 arenas of interaction. I tell you what those arenas are, and I take you through those 5 arenas with regard to your own personal circumstances to ensure that you keep the narcissist away from you, and, just as importantly, you keep yourself away from the narcissist. People fail because they don't understand what the no-contact regime involves. Furthermore, they are stymied, hampered, crippled, if you will, by the presence of the enemy within, emotional thinking. And this is all linked to the addiction. The addiction sits at the heart of the empathic victim, like some insatiable beast that says, feed me. And it's important for you to understand what the foundation is of your addiction to the narcissist. Where does it come from? How it exists? How it was formed? Why has this happened to you? You need to know the basis on which your addiction arose. Furthermore, you need to understand the concept of emotional thinking, what it is, what it does, why does it operate in the way that it does. You need to be able to spot it, to identify it at work, and this is one of the hardest things to do because at certain levels you lose insight, meaning you're not able to see it. I can, as your expert advisor and the objective, insightful, external observer of your circumstances. But all is not lost because you are able, through my work, to be able to identify it before you get to that position of a loss of insight. Finally, you need to know what to do to tackle the emotional thinking, to ensure that you don't damage your no-contact regime, and to enable you to rid yourself of those unwanted emotions that surround the narcissist. Invariably, you will find yourself still angered by what the narcissist has done, fearful of the narcissist, frightened of the narcissist, still harbouring pain, anguish, upset, sadness. Perhaps you have a churning and burning desire to bring down the narcissist that you'd rather not have, that you wish that you could just be in a position whereby you are entirely indifferent to the narcissist to achieve the position of zero impact. And yet you still have these feelings, these pesky, irritating, hindering feelings, and you want them to go away. The good news is you can achieve that, because those feelings are linked to the presence of emotional thinking and the addiction. I have spent many, many years observing, scrutinizing, analyzing, interacting with and listening to the empaths of this world, understanding what makes them tick, seeing what occasions their behaviors, observing what governs their responses, and how they make mistakes, schoolboy or schoolgirl errors, and how these are capitalized upon by our kind, my kind, but also the presence of the enemy within. People talk of trauma bonds. They are just a part of the addiction. People talk about cognitive dissonance. That is part of what the addiction utilizes to use against you. Understanding the addiction is absolutely fundamental and crucial to you recovering from narcissistic abuse, to you implementing and maintaining a successful no-contact regime, and for you to achieve the freedom which you richly deserve. Every single victim of the ensnarement and entanglement with the narcissist should understand the addiction, should understand its foundation, its operation, and, most importantly of all, how to tackle it. You are in the fortunate position of having access to so much of my work at no charge. A huge library of information which is occasioned through my blog, narcsite.com, and the hundreds of videos which I have created. This provides you with insight into so much of the narcissistic dynamic, providing you with answers to those questions that have burned at the heart of you, to bring enlightenment and understanding where there once was none. Central to much of all of this is the presence of the addiction and emotional thinking, and it is incumbent upon you, if you are serious about your recovery, if you are serious about breaking free of the chains of constraint that the narcissist has placed upon you, if you are serious about ensuring that you never ever get caught by our kind again, you need to understand the addiction, the whys and the whats and the wherefores. No matter where you are with regard to your journey, if you are still in the romantic relationship or the familial ensnarement, if you have recently escaped or been disengaged from, if you find yourself in the shelf dynamic, if you have moved forward and feeling that you're doing well, and perhaps even contemplating about looking for a new romantic relationship, you need to understand the addiction, how it functions and how it operates, and how you can deal with it. To that end, I have created the Addiction Triple Package, an unrivaled set of information in 3 parts. Part 1 explains what is the foundation of your addiction to the narcissist, where it comes from and how it exists. Part 2 explains how your addiction operates through emotional thinking, what this is and what it does and why it is the enemy within. And finally, part 3 provides you with unrivaled and highly effective practical advice so that you can tackle the emotional thinking, so you avoid damaging the no-contact regime, and to enable you to rid yourself of those unwanted emotions surrounding and associated with the narcissist. Ordinarily, this package of information would cost $110 US, but bought as a triple package, it is just $79.99. Obtain this. You owe it to yourself, your recovery, and your march to freedom. Gain the understanding and implement it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Use the Addiction Triple Package. Utilize the link in the video description. And no longer be plagued by your addiction.